everyone, welcome back to the Faithful Ewe Knitting podcast. My name's Hazel and I'm coming to you from Mid Wales in the United Kingdom. This is a predominantly knitting podcast, but I also do weaving, spinning, hand dyeing, sometimes crochet, sometimes some sewing. Now and again I'll do vlogs and show you the chickens and the garden, but mostly I do knitting and talk about spinning. So yeah, welcome to my little corner of the internet, and as you may notice we are back in the Christmas nook with my Christmas wallpaper and my other wallpaper, my vintage paper. I did try to record down in the shed, but yeah, there's that much rainwater coming down off the trees, there's that much noise. I couldn't concentrate, so it was just my brain was all over the place. So I've decided to try and come down into my workshop. I was going to record in the kitchen, but my husband came home early today and caught me on the hop. So yeah, I've been scurrying around trying to find somewhere to do my podcast. Sorry I haven't been around for the last 3 weeks, but I've been really busy. I haven't done much knitting, and last week I was floored by a 3-day migraine. And I've also wanted to get my Advent spinning weaving started, and I wanted to show you that. So that's what I did for the last 2 episodes, the last 2 things that I've done on my channel. Excuse me for rustling round. I've got this cushion behind my back and it's not very comfy. That's better. Anyway, today I'm wearing my Art Yarn hand spun sweater. It is a pattern of my own, and I am going to get round to writing it, hopefully over the weekend, and pop that up in my blog. I have written out the tank top pattern, and thank you for all your lovely comments, everybody, and for telling me how much you like my tank top. So yeah, it's really warm, it's really cosy. I've been wearing it an awful lot around the place. I put it down somewhere and I can't find it. I managed to find my hat, in case any of you were wondering who watch my other channel. I found it in the pantry underneath the tea towel. I searched everywhere, thought I'd lost it, panicking thinking I'd lost my favourite hat. And I found it in the pantry. So yay for my favourite hat, but I am going to knit another one. I'm all over the place today, aren't I? Sorry. Anyway, let's get back to the podcast. Today we have a finished object. I have a bit of sewing that I've done. I've done a little bit of knitting on a knitting loom. I've got my crochet blanket to show you. I've got my Into the Wild sweater to show you. And I've got a future project to talk to you about as well, and an offer code that I found on the internet that I thought I would share with you. So we've got quite a bit to look at today. I'm looking over here because this is where all my stuff is. Yeah, as I say, I haven't been up to much. I had a 3-day migraine last week. My brain's been all over the place. I don't seem to be able to remember anything. I'm finding it difficult seeing at night when I'm sewing, when I'm knitting. So I've got a little lamp now that I clip to my chair, and then I can see the stitches when I'm knitting, so that's made life a lot better. Also, for the last week I've been knitting solidly on a pair of socks, and I wanted to get it finished. So that's my finished object, so I'm going to show you that first because I'm really pleased with myself. I've only ever knit one pair of socks before, and they didn't fit me right, and they went in holes within a few days of me knitting them. So I slung them in the corner, and I thought I'm not going to knit anymore. So I didn't knit any more socks. And I knit them about 5 or 6 years ago, something like that, and I said I'd never knit socks again. Anyway, I did a survey to see how many people knit socks, and I think it was something like 40% of the people that answered said that they knit socks. In fact, no, sorry, it was 60% of the people that answered said that they knit socks, and one lady came along who's been subscribing to my channel since the beginning. And well, actually she subscribes to both of my channels, and she said knit another pair of socks. She said once you've knit one pair you'll never stop knitting them, you'll always want handmade socks. And I can see what she meant now, because these socks are lovely. I couldn't find a pattern that I liked and that I thought that I could follow because I've never knit them before. I didn't understand the concept of the sock, and I didn't understand the concept of how to do the heel and how to do the toe. So what I did was, these are my socks, and this is one of them. Looks really good, I think, and there's the other one. I have knit 2, so there is a pair. There isn't a lonely one. And what I did was I knit it in a tube. They're on blockers at the moment, and I knit that in 2x2 rib. And I did about 7 inches of 2x2 rib, so I can fold them over or ruffle them down. And then I carried on knitting a tube down and I did 5 inches of stocking stitch, and I did a little bit of waste thread so I could do an afterthought heel, and then I cast off for the sock how I thought I wanted the toe to look, and then I did an afterthought heel and followed a pattern on the internet as to how to do the afterthought heel. So they fit the blocker really, really well, so I'm really pleased, and I've tried them on and they're really comfy. So I washed them last night and I've put them out on my blocker, so I'm hoping I'll be able to start wearing them, but they're really, really comfy. So I've had them over the fire, drying out over the fire, and yeah, I'm looking forward to being able to wear them. So I'm going to knit another pair, and I'm going to knit a pair in some hand spun I found yesterday. It's some Masham with some sparkle in, so I thought they'd make a really nice pair of socks. I don't know if I've got enough for a full pair, but I've definitely got enough for the main part of the sock here, and then I could always knit that bit in a different yarn, and the toe and the heel and the cuff in a different yarn. So we'll see what we've got when we get there. But yeah, I'm really, really pleased with my socks. My first proper pair of socks, my first own made up pattern, and I think they turned out really well. So onwards and upwards with the socks. So I'm going to try and do a pair every month. This is my January pair, so I need to get cracking to do a February pair. Well, actually no, I'm going to class these as my February pair because I did start them in February and I did finish them. So I'm going to try and do another pair and see if we can get 11 pairs of socks by the end of the year. Maybe more if we can do it, if we can go quickly. But yeah, really pleased with them. So they're my socks. So then that sent me then off on a train of thought of whether I could knit tubes on a circular sock machine. So, me being me, Hazel being Hazel, I got one of these. I found it on eBay for £10, and it's a Centro 22 needle machine. That's it there. As I say, I got it for £10 on eBay. Really pleased with it. It's just the same as the 48 stitch Centro. Let me show you. Comes with all the feet and everything. Doesn't come with a row counter, but there you go. So that's my machine, and then this is what I came up with. I've knit one and I've knit two, and I wanted these to be long socks so I can wear them in my wellies. Now they're a bit gapey because I used thin yarn. I think if I'd used a 4-ply or a double knit yarn, and I think if I'd used an Aran weight they would have been a better pair of socks. But I'm quite pleased with them. Not sure how they're going to turn out, so I'm going to do different cuff, pull off some of the yarn and do the toe, put them on needles, and take some of the thread out and do an afterthought heel. So yeah, we'll see how we get on with that, because I have dropped a stitch just there. I have dropped a stitch. They're a bit messy. So I don't know whether just to make them into a pair of wrist warmers for in the garden, because they'd actually make a nice big baggy pair of wrist warmers. So I might do that with them instead for these ones, and then have another go and see if I can make socks and use some hand spun yarn. But I actually think they're going to be nice then as wrist warmers. What do you think? Keep my hands nice and warm when I'm working in my workshop, when I'm working in the garden. So yeah, I'm really pleased with them. I'm going to have another go, see how I get on, see if I can make a pair of socks on the knitting machine, and see if I can do 2 pairs of socks in February. So that's that. I also did some sewing. I'm going to include this as my finished object because it's some sewing. And it is another, as you can see, I wear a lot of wrist warmers around here because it keeps my hands nice and free. I've made these, and I made these out of an old poncho, and it's a poncho that I wear out in the garden, and it had a collar, and it was quite a big collar up here, and I found it really annoying because the neck's quite tight, and I found it really, really annoying. So I thought, well, I'll cut the collar off, and I thought I don't want to waste the collar. So I thought, oh, I know, I'll make a pair of mittens. So that's what I did. I cut it in half, took the front and the back off, and stitched up the side, just up there, left a little hole, and made myself a little pair of wrist warmers. So that's keeping me nice and warm, keeping my hands nice and warm. So I just need to finish them off. I'm going to do a bit of embroidery thread and blanket stitch, and I'm going to do that around the top, and that around the thumb hole as well. And then I've got a nice little pair of mittens for when I'm working around the place, and they're actually quite nice, even though they're quite short, because I wear a lot of long things dresses wise. They're actually quite nice. They just come up to the cuff. So yeah, that's another finished object. I've done 2 finished objects this month. I haven't done much else. I haven't done much on my retro jumper. I'll show you what I've done so far. I can't remember where I showed you where it was up to last time. But I'm doing some vintage knitting. We're now on to works in progress. Sorry it's a bit scatty, but that's just where my brain's at today. Which one am I doing? This is the one I'm doing. This one here. It's from 1984. As I say, from some of my previous podcasts, it's one of the first patterns I ever bought when I learnt to knit. And I'm doing it in this beautiful colour. I'm just shaping the armhole now. And it is a working 1 needle one size, 1 needle in the other. So you work on a 12mm needle and you work on a 4.5mm needle. So I'm just on the armhole. I've just started that, and I'm just in the process now of just shaping the neck here, and then I move back onto the back. So I have to knit 2 pieces like this. I found it a bit faffy because I'm knitting in mohair, and this is the wool that I'm using. It was something that I got from the charity shop for a couple of £, and I just love the colour. It was from Stash, because I'm not buying any yarn again for 2023. I didn't buy any in 2022 apart from at Christmas when I bought some cheap charity shop wool, and they let me have it for 49p a ball, and it was 100% Jacob sheep. So I couldn't leave it there in a charity shop. I thought that would be a crime to leave it there. It is grey, but it means I can dye it if I want to, or knit with it in grey. So I got a few different balls. There's a few different things that they had there, and I got some lovely 100% wool yarn for knitting into something. So I did let myself have a splurge. It was Christmas. I did have some money to spend off people, so I thought that I would spend it on some wool. But other than that, I've not bought any wool since August 21. Where are we? Yeah, August 21 was the last time I bought anything. So I haven't even bought anything in the charity shops. It's been really, really good. So I'm going to have a no spend year for this year, for 2023, and I'm doing the Stash Down challenge, and I'll talk about that a bit further in the end. But that's just basically you don't buy any wool. But I'll talk about that a bit later on. But yeah, this is from Stash. So yeah, I'm really, really pleased with it. Loving the colour. I think the colour's absolutely gorgeous. I really like the colour, and it's in fitting with the retro style. You do knit it in pieces, and I don't knit in pieces very often. I suppose I could have knit it in the round, but yeah, I didn't think of that at the time, did I? So yeah, I suppose I could have done, couldn't I? I didn't think of that. I've still got COVID brain. I still can't think of anything. So yeah, that's my vintage knit. I'm up to the shaping the shoulders, and then I'll move on to the next one, onto the back. So I have picked out the wool for the next one that I want to do, but I haven't brought that with me. But I'll show you the pattern anyway, seeing as it's in the same bag, because I keep losing these patterns. But the next one I'm going to do is this one. Whether you can see in the light, is this one. And I'm knitting it in a mohair again, but it looks more like a hand spun. So that's going to be that one. So yeah, a couple of vintage knits, patterns 1984, so it's nearly 40 years old. Oh gosh, I'm showing my age there, aren't I? Probably now. 39 years old. Not me, the pattern. Wish I was that old. Right, okay. So, works in progress. I've knit the Into the Wild sweater, which is this one, which is the one with the fox heads on it. By, I think it's Tanya Barley or something like that. I'll put a link in the description bar below for you to Ravelry. It is a paid for pattern. It's about £5 something, I think, and I got it 20% off last year. And it's been in my queue for ages wanting to knit it. And I watch Emily Kate Makes, and I think she said she knit it and it was too small on the yoke. Now I've knit it, and I've knit all the body. Done that. The yoke, the sleeve. I'm on to the second sleeve. Tried it on, it's too small. Now, because I watched Emily Kate Makes and she said that she knit it and it was too small, I thought I'll knit the next size up. And I knit it so it would have 10 inches positive ease. Hasn't got 10 inches positive ease at all whatsoever. I've used bigger wool, I've used bigger needles, I've used 5mm needles, I've used Let Lopey, and it calls for a 4-ply or a double knit. I've knit the size up above what I needed to knit to have 5 inches positive ease, so it's got even more positive ease, and it's still too small. I started it in January, but it was my New Year cast on, and I started it the first weekend in January. I got all the body and everything done in January, and then got really fed up with it and slung it in the bag and started my socks because it's too small, can't wear it. I haven't put that much weight back on over Christmas. I've only put about £6 on, but in fact I don't even think it's that much. But yeah, it's too small. So I'm going to finish the sleeve, and then I'm going to wash it, and then I'm going to stretch it, and really stretch it, aggressively stretch it, and try my best to stretch it out. Same thing happened with Birkin, didn't it? I suppose I could cut it up the middle and make a cardigan, but I don't know how that would work with the fox heads because they're slightly off centre, they're not quite centre. So yeah, and I'd have a half a fox head if I did that. So yeah, I love the colour. I think the colour's beautiful, but I'm just hoping that if I block it and I stretch it, and then maybe block it again and stretch it, because Lopey has a tendency to relax and go a bit baggy. So I'm hoping that washing it and stretching it and pulling it and trying it on and doing that to it will stretch it out. So yeah, I'm really enjoying it. It's alright on the rest of the body, it's just here across the shoulders, it's just really tight, and yeah. So we shall see. It's a bit of an anticlimax really for such a beautiful jumper. But I'll have it finished for my next podcast because I've only got the sleeve to do, and I'll have it blocked for the next podcast, and I'll see if I can wear it. But I may have to wait until I've lost some more weight in the summer, because I'm going to go back on my diet again and get another stone off, so that'll be good. And I've got some yarn left. I'm going to have about 5 balls of this left, so I may have enough to knit something else. So we shall see, but I'm really enjoying the pattern. It's been a really good pattern to make. The only thing that I would say is that unless you're an experienced colour work knitter, it's quite challenging because you have to knit with 3 colours, and you've got 2 colours in one hand and 1 colour in the other. And when you're doing the long floats and you carry it over the needle to catch the float at the back, it's a bit of a challenge to remember which yarn you've got to have in which hand and which one's going to go over the float and which one you're going to be knitting with next. So it's a bit of a brain sort of challenge, But yeah, I've got that far. So I'm going to knit the sleeve, going to block it, I'm going to see how we get on and see if we can wear it. So that's the Into the Wild sweater. The only other thing I've got to show you is my crochet blanket, which is coming along nicely. Haven't done any for a week or so because I've been doing the socks. But this is it so far. All that way and then all that way. I'm halfway. I've done about 45 colours so far. It is big. It's a really big blanket. So yeah, really enjoying it. It's a really nice colour mix. It was a blanket that I bought off Ep18 and it was the crochet granny square. And I wasn't loving doing the granny squares, so I decided to knit another one of the Ep18 because a friend of mine in church gave me the pattern to use because she's already done it before, and she said I might enjoy it more, and you know, I have really enjoyed doing it. It's a really easy pattern to follow. It's just two pattern repeats and you're away, and I've done 45 rows I think out of 93. So I'm just around halfway, so I've not got much left to do. I'm sure I can get that finished by the summer, and then get something else started, because what I've been looking at is doing crochet cardigans. I quite like the idea of doing that with some of the yarns that are left over from some of my projects, but I don't know whether I've got the confidence. I know I'm wearing this and I know this is my hand spun, but I don't know whether I've got the confidence to knit a patchwork, to crochet a patchwork cardigan. A coat would be really nice, and a really nice long line cardigan. It's something great to do with all those leftovers, wouldn't it? So yeah. So yeah, this is my Ep18 blanket. I've got my other colours all picked out in there to do my next 6 stripes. I try to pick out 6 at a time and just plod along with that. So I've been plodding along with that. That's coming along nicely. So I think that's it for all my crafting content. I don't think I've got anything else to show you. It's a pretty chaotic, short podcast today. I do have a purchase to show you. And anyone who's been watching my podcast for a long time knows that I love Shills a Day. Absolutely adore the place. Well, I did when Eva had it. I've not been since Kirsty's had it. But when she was in Waterness, she used to go there every year, every time when we went to Skye, because we used to go camping up there every year, and then after a while we started going in a house, and yeah, I used to make that my pilgrimage when we went in the summer, because she wasn't open in the winter. You had to make an appointment to go in the winter. But when she was open in the summer, when we used to go camping, I'd go and I'd buy a load of yarn, and I've just started making projects out of it now. I knit my magnolia sweater in some Gotland from her, and I've still got some of that wool left. And I've also done a cable cardigan, but I can't find the pattern. I've done the sleeves, I've done the back, I've done the front, and I just need to work out how to do the yoke, because I've done one of the sides wrong, and I'm not sure which side I've done wrong. I may just have to see if I can make it up and then just do a plain yoke, or maybe just a cable stitch yoke. But I'd love to find the pattern, because it's a Hebridean wool 100%. And I just can't find the pattern anywhere, and I keep holding on to this jumper thinking I'll find the pattern and I'll get it finished. I can't find the pattern, and I really don't want to undo it, because it's such a lovely pattern. It's a Serdar pattern, and it's just a one button pattern here, and I want to use one of my slate buttons that I make by hand and sell in my Etsy shop, and I just can't find the pattern. I'd love to find it. I'm sure it'll just turn up. The thing that's in the back of my mind is that if I undo the cardigan and I undo all that work, the pattern will turn up, and I'll be kicking myself, because I'll be thinking if I'd just hung on to it for another week, I would have been able to finish it. Can't find the pattern. So I've been holding on to it for 3 years, hoping I'll find the pattern, and I did find it when we first moved in this house, and I can't find it. No idea where it's gone. And I'm not a kind of person to throw patterns away or throw magazines away, so it's quite possible it's around somewhere. But I'm looking that way because all my pattern folders are over there. Anyway, we're off on a tangent there, didn't we? That's all that said. I bought this on the internet. And I put a photograph in here for you. But it was gorgeous. It's what's called a peasant jumper. And it's lovely. It's so baggy. And it's actually knit. I don't know whether you can see the label there. But it's knit from Shills Adair. And I was so pleased because I know when she used to have these things in her shop, they were like about £150, £200 to buy. And I think this is Shetland wool. It's so comfortable. It's gorgeous, absolutely gorgeous. But I only paid a few quid for it on the internet, on eBay. So it's a really nice baggy top. And I bought it with the intention of taking it apart and getting the wool off it and knit something else. Nah. I've been wearing it and wearing it and wearing it. It's so nice to wear. It's so warm. It's so comfy. And yeah, that's what I've spent my money on this last few weeks. So I'll try and put a picture in for you and show you what it looks like. But because it's difficult to see on camera, isn't it? It's just got a button-up neck. And it's really long. It's 50 inches wide, really baggy, and I want to knit one myself. It's just a moss stitch at the bottom, stocking stitch in the body. It's got kind of like a bit of a diamond pattern on it or something. It's just a moss stitch, and then it's stocking stitch on the body, and then a blanket stitch along the edge. So I think I'm going to try and knit one myself if I can decide for the pattern. So watch this space. That will be that. So yeah, I think that's it for today. I've got a pattern recommendation for you of a future knit. And there's a code for it as well that I found on a Facebook page called Dayana Knits, Dayana. I'll put a link in the description bar. And it is a tank top. I love tank tops. I think they're so versatile because you can wear them with dresses and wear them with blouses. And it's by a lady called Donna Druckenas. And it's called Favourite Stitches Aran Vest. I'll put a picture here for you so you can see it. And it is a tank top pattern in a cable pattern. It's got two types of cable, as you can see in the pattern. It's got a honeycomb in the middle, and on either side it's got a cable, upside down cable stitch. And you knit the back. You can either knit the back in a moss stitch, or you can knit it to match the front, or you could do it in a stocking stitch. It is a paid for pattern, and I think it's £5.48 for the pattern, but at the moment they're doing it as a free pattern if you use the code. And the code is called Aran Vest, and it's free until the 18th of February. I'll put all the details in the description bar below for you. But I like free patterns on Ravelry. I don't like to pay for them if I can help it, and I know that's awful for designers out there, but I don't have the money to spend £5, £6, £7 on a pattern. I mean, some of them are like £12 for one pattern, and I just think that's out of order. So what I do is I try to support designers who are putting them up there for free so that they can get recognised, and I can use their patterns as well. So if I can show you a pattern that's for free, it means that in this day and age with the cost of living crisis, it means you can still enjoy knitting lovely patterns, and these designers that put them out there for free get the recognition because you're still knitting their patterns. A lot of the bigger designers like Jennifer Steingass and that don't do them for free, so I usually tend to buy their patterns when they have an offer on. So I will tell you of the offers when I find them, when they're available. And the stash that I'm doing, the Knit from Stash challenge that I'm doing at the moment, is something I found on Retro Claude's website. And what it is you just knit from stash, and you go through your stash and you work through how many meters you've got or how many 50-gram balls you've got. You make a note of it all, which I've yet to do. I will do a video about that. and you then knit from stash and try and get your way through your stash before you buy any more yarn, because I'm sure if you're like me, you've got lots and lots and lots of lovely nice yarns that just sit there, and now and again you go in, you have a squish, you have a sniff, and you have a look at it, and then put it back in the cupboard and go and buy something else. So this for me now is great, because it means I'm knitting with all the lovely yarns that I've got, and I'm knitting some lovely patterns. Because incidentally, the vest that I'm going to knit, I'm going to knit from some Manx Lofton, and it's hand spun with silk, and it's something that I've spun myself, so that's going to be really nice. It's a lovely brown colour, like a chocolatey brown colour. It's lovely. Yeah, it's like oh gosh, how can I describe it? It's like a teak colour. It's a beautiful brown, and I mixed it with silk, and I didn't mix the silk in very well, but this is going to be a great use of that yarn, because you'll be able to see the pops of silk in with the cable pattern, so that'll be really nice. So I think that's it for today. I can't think of anything else to share with you. It's going dark. I'm thinking about tea time, and I need to go in and get in front of the fire because it's quite cold out here today. So I think that's it for today. I hope you've enjoyed my podcast. If you have, please do like and subscribe, because YouTube does seem to like it when people like my videos. And do hit that notification bell, and it'll let you know when I upload new videos. I've still got to finish recording the last 2 parts of my drum carding videos. And I've just been so busy around here, and it's been quite cold as well, and I've just not felt like getting in my workshop and recording the last 2 parts. So I will get round to that this week, and hopefully the next one will be posted up on Wednesday. Also, because I have my migraines, I haven't got round to finishing my weaving. I'll see if I can get round to doing that over the weekend. But yeah, the migraines have been quite bad. I'm not sure if I've had a virus, because another lady in church had it the week before me, and then another lady who came to our Bible study had it the week after me. So I'm not sure if it was a virus that was going round, but yeah, I'm just trying to get back on top of things. So yeah, I'll hopefully see you again next Saturday for another knitting podcast, and hopefully get some more projects on the go so I can show you some new cast-ons. So have a lovely weekend, and I will see you soon. So take care for now. Bye bye.